Morning. It is day 10, 21 days of the goddess. And today we have Ishtar, the Mesopotamian goddess Ishtar. The card says communion. And really what it means is communion with spirit, the great goddess, that other deeper side of our consciousness, our subconscious mind. And this message has to do with noticing synchronicities and other signs from the universe. When we are when we're uncertain or we're looking at a situation and we don't know which way to go, we can list it out logically, right? The pros, the cons, and sometimes the pros list wins. But we're shown a red flag, or we're shown something that in our gut is like, it looks good on paper, but I can't do it. Or it could be the opposite. Maybe there's a lot of cons, or some of those cons are really life altering or taking a big risk, but we can get the feeling to just jump, right? So this card is telling you to pay attention to those synchronicities, get in communion with spirit, meditate, pray, whatever it is, whatever your daily practice is, so that you can ask for those synchronicities. You can start to notice the synchronicities. Again, it might be song lyrics, it could be an oracle pulling a card. Some of the history of Ishtar is she, had priestesses that were oracles. You would go and get a message from these priestesses who spent their days communing with spirit and being really tuned in. Now, most of us, with most things in life, we don't have as much of a community perspective. We all have to be good at everything, right? So it's like we can be our own oracle. And sometimes we might use cards or whatnot, but you can really get those messages by going inward. And that's what I'm hoping this meditation series will be for you, as we go deeper into that. And I see Caesar's here, which is so interesting because we used to work together. And I was thinking of this when I pulled this card, because about just over 10 years ago, maybe 2014, sometime around then, I was full-time in my PhD program, which was a big undertaking, and I was still working full-time at the school district and was working with a lot of mainly teenage boys who had disruptive behaviors and whatnot. And my job was to help them with their mental health concerns and behaviors so that they could access their academic program. So I was a mental health clinician, and I was really going deep into this world of mind-body medicine and mind-body practices. And my PhD was in mind-body medicine. So spending all that time in the evenings diving into the research and using the clinical skills to help them, relax their nervous system and eat healthy foods and do things a little bit differently, I saw that a lot of my clients didn't use medication as much as some of the other students. So I thought, wow, if I could do this for the teachers and the parents in the school district, and then they're modeling it for the kids, like this could completely be a different system, right? And the PhD program that I was in is all about transformative change. It's about changing education, changing healthcare by going in and using these mind-body tools. And also my office was kind of like a hub where a lot of the clinicians or even the teachers would stop by and they'd vent about what they were dealing with, or they would ask for advice. So I was kind of already informally a support to the staff. So I talked to the head of the department, my boss's boss at the time, and asked if, oh, it looks like we paused on Instagram. We'll let it come back. I asked if we could create a position for me to, or even if I could devote some of my hours of my full-time position to doing that, to creating in these groups that were support systems, formal support systems for teachers, parents, the adults, basically, so that it could have this trickle down effect and this systemic change. And I was so disheartened because what she told me, and she was a few years away from retirement, but what she told me was that'll never change in my lifetime, and this will never change in your lifetime. This is how the system is. And here we are now, today, this week, with Pluto moving into Aquarius, and we are about to see a huge systemic change. And also, since then, what are we in 2024? This was 10 years ago now. There's been a massive change as far as mind-body techniques and this idea of integrating wellness into healthcare. And there's so many new technologies and telemedicine and being able to do things online and doing therapy online, which I was doing 10 years ago, but everybody thought that was weird. And how could you do that, right? But it came out of necessity. And I was so disheartened that I realized that was my exit strategy. Like I needed to get out of that organization because they weren't going where I was going. And so you might see this like in a partnership too, or a romantic relationship. If you're somewhere and you're investing so much passion and time and energy, but you don't have the same vision, it's not going to work. It's not a good match, right? And you just end up feeling exhausted and not appreciated and all of that. So this is what I realized. However, I had hoped that I could make a change in this organization. I felt very passionate about my work and the kids, and I could see the possibilities. And so it took me about 2 more years, maybe another year before I phased out. I gradually went to part-time, and then I eventually took the leap, resigned, and went full-time into my business so that I could focus and partner with organizations that actually had the same vision and saw the potential of these mind-body techniques and saw how it was cheaper, more efficient, all of this stuff to create these health outcomes. And at that time, that wasn't a very logical choice because I had very good health insurance. I had a decent income, stable. I didn't have to worry about it. And I was in a PhD program. So when you're studying, you want to have something you can kind of do an autopilot and have it be stable. But everything in me told me to jump and to go, and also to trust that if I was making an empowered decision about aligning with an organization or aligning with a mission that matched my vision, that the universe would support me. And so that's what I did. And things kind of magically aligned. There was a lot of struggle for sure, creating a business while going through a PhD program. And my children were very young at the time, and I was going through a divorce. So there was a lot going on to create struggle. But 10 years later, it worked. And, there's been lots of ups and downs since then, including the pandemic and everything that's happened since then. I live in California. The economy is kind of wild out here post-pandemic. But it is, I guess I'm telling you this story so you can see that I was listening to the synchronicities. I was listening to my gut. I was doing about 2 hours of meditation back then, about an hour in the morning, an hour at night. And I was clear by going into communion. So this card, which is 24, interesting, that's the day of my birth too, is about returning to that to get your answers. So we are going to go in and do a meditation to maybe ask for a synchronicity, a sign. And if you don't know, synchronicity is defined as a meaningful coincidence. Oh, one more little piece of the story. So as I was in this PhD program, right away, you have to start thinking about what your dissertation is going to be, right? And I was experiencing so many synchronicities. I thought, what if I studied the experience of synchronicity as my dissertation topic? Because I knew I wanted it to be something spiritual. I wanted to bring science around the spirituality. And that very day that my boss's boss had told me that that'll never happen in her lifetime or my lifetime, I happened to see a talk by Deepak Chopra. He was speaking in San Diego, and it was a really wonderful talk. And he was like, we're at the precipice of a whole consciousness shift right now. It's a very powerful time. And all of this stuff is going to change, and there's going to be more mind-body alignment in the future. And so he was basically saying the opposite of what I had been told earlier that afternoon. And it was refreshing to hear that. And that matched what I believed in my gut to be true. And after the talk, I think I bought one of his books, Synchrodestiny or something like that, because he talks a lot about synchronicities and has done a lot of study on it and has courses on it. And they told us he doesn't have time for pictures, just keep moving along. Don't take a picture, don't stop in the line, like have him sign your book. And sure enough, when I got close to him, the line stopped and his handlers kind of got distracted with something. So we were just kind of there, like looking at each other. And then he said, I don't mind pictures. I just don't like the flashes. Like that's the problem. And then I told him that my dissertation topic was in synchronicity, and we started chatting about that. And he gave me some suggestions. So I felt like even the fact that I was able to have a conversation with him about synchronicity was really powerful because, and it was a synchronicity right after the events earlier that day. That is another thing that led to me taking the leap. So, yeah, trust your gut, trust the signs. And let's go in. I'm wondering, well, I better not. I was going to try to do some music because I put music on for a hypnosis session last night over Zoom, and it totally worked with the audio, but I have to be careful with you have to use royalty-free music. So I'm not sure that I have the proper music pulled up right now. So we'll go without music, but maybe tomorrow I'll look into some music with this. All right, Ishtar, communing with the great goddess, synchronicities. You can get comfortable wherever you're at now in your chair or lying down. As we transition now into a meditation, to open your awareness, to open your consciousness to the energies that are there, but maybe you can't see, maybe you've got blinders on, or maybe you're not hearing because you're so focused on an outcome or what you want to happen. And this card, Ishtar, that I pulled today is all about trusting the process. Interestingly enough, that's what my mug says today, trust the process. I used this mug before I pulled the card. And it's about listening to the red flags instead of being stubbornly moving toward the outcome that you want and pushing forward. Also listening to the synchronicities when it's time to jump. So relaxing your shoulders, feeling rooted and grounded either in your chair with your tailbone or your feet on the floor. Maybe even imagining roots coming out of the bottom of your feet, breaking through the floor, going into the earth, growing and spreading so that you're very rooted and supported, and maybe even latching onto a metal ring at the center of the earth so that whatever winds or storms come, you might get tousled around a bit, but you are rooted, solid, grounded. And from that place, noticing a warmth and a softness flooding through your body. So noticing your jaw relax, noticing your forehead relax and be wide. Noticing your neck muscles softening and your shoulders softening. And your arms are heavy and warm, and your legs are heavy and warm. Allowing you to just relax and soften. And especially softening your belly, your abdomen. When your belly is soft, you can take nice, deep breaths into your lungs, fully filling your lungs up with air from bottom to top. So experimenting with this soft belly and these deep breaths. And you can even say to yourself, soft as you breathe in and belly as you breathe out. The soft belly meditation was taught to me by Dr. James Gordon, who's the co-founder of my PhD program. Soft belly. Soft belly. Inhaling soft. Exhaling belly. As you feel the warmth in your abdomen, the deeper breaths. As your lungs expand, stimulating the vagus nerve behind the lungs, sending waves of relaxation all through your body, sending signals for relaxation, shutting off fight or flight, shutting off anxiety, shutting off stress. This beautiful machinery, this beautiful science that exists in your body that allows you to adapt to your environment. And knowing we can consciously change our response to our environment through our breath. So by slowing down the breath, deepening the breath, we can turn on this relaxation response, turning off fight or flight. Allowing our body to come back to homeostasis, allowing our nervous system to settle. And from this place of settled groundedness, our creativity comes online. It is very difficult to be creative and have an open mind and be curious when you're in fight or flight. Stress or fight or flight is the energy of protecting yourself, defensiveness, shields, looking for threats. The opposite of being open, accepting, aware. Which is why when we're having an important conversation, it's not going to go well unless we can manage our nervous system and stay out of fight or flight. Backing away, allowing ourselves to settle and calm. Opening up awareness, opening up creativity, creative problem solving, creative solutions. And it works even better if you're doing this daily. You can build new neural pathways in the brain. You can synchronize left and right hemispheres, allowing trauma to release. You can train the nervous system, toning the vagus nerve the same way that you might tone a muscle with this regular practice of breathing and calming. So in this space now of relaxation, of calm, of peace, feeling the unconditional love and protection of the goddess Ishtar, the great goddess, the universe, God, goddess, whatever word you want to use. Asking now for a sign, a synchronicity today that will point you in a direction, either give you a big stop sign or a green light, or even something that might shout to you, go, it's time to go. This is especially powerful when we're doing it together. Going back to my story about leaving my job and going into entrepreneurship full time, I said a prayer before leaving for work one day. It was a long, busy commute that I didn't enjoy. And I said, please give me a sign. If it's time to leave this job, please give me a sign. And that day I got into a car accident on the way to work. Could have been coincidence, but I took that as synchronicity, that it was in fact time to go. And I have zero regrets 10 years later about that decision. It was aligned. What are you contemplating now? There's something that you're contemplating as we're moving from Pluto and Capricorn for 16 years into Pluto and Aquarius for 20 years. These are big, big shifts. Pluto is the planet of transformation. It rules Scorpio. If you know of any Scorpios, you know what energy we're talking about. Truth, secrets unveiled, transformation, intensity. If you're going through hard times right now, noticing instead of feeling punished or abandoned by the universe, can you surrender and let go even further and trust that it's happening for you? And it's easier to trust when we have little spirit messengers, whether it's an animal spirit guide, synchronicity, a song lyric, any little message that reminds us that there's energy beyond our everyday awareness, that there's something much bigger than ourselves operating and guiding, assisting us on our soul journey through this lifetime. And you can imagine today Ishtar having your back, or perhaps you imagine a bubble around you. Make it whatever color you like. I'm seeing a lot of pinks and magentas right now. Placing it around you as an energetic force field so that nothing harmful can come in, only love and support. Receiving that, expanding it, sending out even more love and support to others, helping out in ways that you can without compromising or harming yourself. And moving through your day today in this protective force field, this shield, this bubble, with eyes and ears and heart and third eye wide open, noticing, observing, looking for signs, asking for signs, noticing the synchronicities, noticing the warnings. And when you're ready, you can very slowly bring yourself back, maybe rolling your neck, stretching, or feeling the warmth of your hands on your thighs. Really take your time and coming back. Take your time and only opening your eyes when you feel ready to come back to conscious awareness. After having a nice bliss break, feeling nourished, grounded, and ready to face the day again. Welcome back, everybody. I'll see you again tomorrow for day 11, another meditation, maybe another story. Have a great day. Hey, bye, YouTube.